Tonight, News Channel 5 Investigates has uncovered new questions about the Haslam administration's efforts to privatize more state buildings.
Turns out the first stage of that plan, turning the management of those buildings over to a big corporation, isn't saving near as much as taxpayers were promised.
News Channel 5's chief investigative reporter Phil Williams continues to follow the money.
A year ago, our investigation revealed a big difference between what was promised by that privatization effort and what was delivered. Now, as the governor considers expanding that program, those expected savings have shrunk yet again.
We're saving millions of dollars. That's millions of dollars that we can put into education.
That was Governor Haslam as he recently defended the idea of potentially outsourcing the state's college and university buildings. It comes 2 years after the administration turned control of state office buildings over to the Chicago-based corporation Jones Lang LaSalle.
I can show you that when we've changed things, we've saved money.
JLL officials convinced the administration to outsource the office buildings after the state paid the company $1 million to study the condition of those buildings.
When I showed you the slide where the projection was about $18.8 million a year.
A slide prepared by JLL shows the expected results would be savings of $18.8 million a year, $94 million over 5 years. Last year, JLL official John Padgham told us that was only a reflection of industry averages.
That was never the intent of that study, was to say, here's what you can expect.
Expected doesn't mean expected. After the state put the facilities management contract up for bids, JLL won the job after projecting cost savings this time of $13 million a year. A big chunk of that came from slashing security on state buildings by more than 90%. That's not realistic, is it?
No, it's not. I don't think that will happen.
Then when the contract was announced, JLL said it would save $50 million over 5 years. In other words, $10 million a year.
I think we'll get to $50 million.
But in a recent memo that Padgham helped draft, that $10 million a year was down to $8 million. Part of the reason he wrote was due to buildings being in worse condition than expected.
We're getting lower estimates on the money we're actually going to save, for which we paid $1 million to know how much we're going to save.
And we showed State Representative John Ray Clemens this chart offered up by the governor's office showing those savings are now down to $5 million a year. A long way from the $13 million JLL promised in its bid, even further from the $18.8 million it first said could be expected.
So again, where's the accountability when it comes to privatization?
A JLL spokesperson first acknowledged in one email that the true savings were now about $5 million a year. Then he came back in a second email and said it's more like $6.5 million. The Tennessee State Employees Association has now called for an independent audit to determine which, if any, of those numbers are real. Phil Williams, News Channel 5 Investigates.
Thanks, Phil. That JLL spokesperson said the full scope of the problems inside those office buildings did not become apparent until company officials began working inside on a daily basis. And it turns out the state wasn't spending as much on utilities as the company thought, which cut down on the potential savings. We posted a statement from JLL on our website, newschannel5.com. It has